Hello everybody, Rebus here, welcoming you to a first look slash mini review of Vagante. If you're unfamiliar with this game, it recently came out. It's been in development for about 4 years already. And basically the game plays similar to Spelunky in the fact that you're kind of going into dungeons, you're collecting items, it's a roguelike, and you're basically choosing a character and going into a dungeon. You find treasure and you're just keep going deeper and deeper into the dungeon. So let's take a quick look at some of the gameplay. Alright, so one of the first things you are going to notice about this game is that there are 3 classes that you can actually start out as and play as. You have the Knight, the Rogue, and the Mage. Each plays a little bit differently. The Knight, for instance, has a lot of stats that you can upgrade that are similar to defense, doing more damage, and he's kind of like a paladin of sorts, that he can basically fall from long distances and not take any damage. He's kind of that newish character that you can kind of build and has a lot of defensive attributes. He also starts out with the most health in the game. So it kind of definitely, he's one of those first starting players. Second on the list that we have is the Rogue. The Rogue's kind of a unique character, but also is a little bit weird. First of all, the Rogue is more about stealth, more about shadows tumbling. He starts out with a knife and a bow. The bow is kind of your long distance weapon. It's kind of nice. The knife is a quick, very short range, very little knockback that he starts out with. You can upgrade him to either basically be able to, as you hold down, he'll go into stealth. So he's kind of a sneakier player, or you can have him stronger with tumbles or stronger with his dagger or bow. So it's kind of a character you can definitely build the most. You can play him a bunch of different ways. So I think he's kind of the most unique out of the 3 when it comes to his base skill set that you can use. I've kind of enjoyed the tumble aspect, except obviously I've had issues where I've actually tumbled off of ledges with the Rogue. So finally, at number 3, we have the Mage. Now the Mage is interesting. He doesn't use like swords as much. He uses like wands and he uses magic. Now the wands lose their charges if you hold them down and you use them. He's also kind of the weakest character, but he does start out with some magic. And it seems like magic's kind of a unique blend and kind of an interesting item that you can definitely like level up with. He seems more though oriented towards like advanced users, because a lot of his initial skills are like identify potions. He can also buff allies with spells, and then there's other like one that he has which is like reduce like spell casting. So definitely kind of like an advanced player because he starts out with such low health. Alright, so one of the other things you're going to really notice about this game that makes it kind of unique and different from like a game like Spelunky is the fact that you actually can play online. So you can play up to like 4 players. You can each choose a different person. You could have either the same, whatever you want. So this is where like the game's vastly different, is you do have the other players running around, and it does make it a little bit easier to have multiple people in the dungeon. When you are playing single player, you do run that risk of like one slight misstep can actually screw you up. Especially true when like you fall in a spike and it does 999 damage and you're instantly killed, or a block falls from a trap and instantly crushes you. So once again, this game, very similar to Spelunky, is very, very, very unforgiving. One slight mess up will kill you. But the nice thing about this game is after each individual run through, so let's say you run through, you do really great, everything like that, you actually gain experience towards a progression bar. The progression bar will fill up and you'll get like basically background perks. So the first one you get is when you go into the dungeon, you'll start out 1 level higher than you were. So you can already put like something into one of your perks. Now, this is kind of nice because you can keep like progressing, and basically if you do keep losing, you can kind of like add these buffers onto. You can also choose to not add them if you want that like pure experience. But it does add a little bit of like nice for people like me who are novices. I'm not good at this game. I'm sure there will be a clip playing right now of me like doing a speed run of where I think I literally died in 10 seconds after starting the game because I fell straight on spikes. So the first thing that I will say about this game is the controls. The controls in this game are very like well done if you understand the controls, if that makes sense. So personally, I'm not a big fan of keyboard and mouse when it comes to playing games like this. So I was initially turned off because when you actually try to have like basically a mouse plugged in or like a controller, it automatically will default to the mouse. And that basically, like, I thought for the longest time this game didn't have controller support. And I was actually really disappointed because I was like, oh man, this sucks. But what I found out is if you actually do go into the options, you can configure and select the controller. So it's not intuitive in the fact that it's automatically detected. You do have to go in, change it, everything like that. That said, you can remap controls, you can do all that kind of stuff. So that's very, very nice. Basically, it's an easy game to set up once you have it set up. Controls handle like you would think they would. Up is your like moving up and down ladders. X is for attacks, A is for jump. Y is magic or your secondary depending on what class you're playing. And then basically other skills can be added in. It'll tell you how they interact. Some of them are not intuitive. For instance, the Knight's defend is hitting down on the mouse or down on the keyboard or gamepad. And that's really weird to me. Especially when you're on like or near a ladder or something. I continuously kept worrying that I was going to fall through if I accidentally hit something wrong. So I'm not really too sure on that. Once again, though, you can like configure some of that stuff. All right, so the big question with this game, should you pick it up? Should you play it? And is it worth it? And I would have to say, if you do like the roguelike games, yes. I feel like this game, if it takes off, hopefully when it takes off, this game will be one of those games that you'll see a lot of speedrun videos. You'll see a lot of people being like, quickly through the dungeon. I'm sure there's going to be elements that like you'll end up seeing that are like, oh my gosh, if you like grab this item and take it all the way to this and then drop it into a pool of like acid and wait 20 seconds, it'll turn into the something. I'm sure there's going to be stuff like that. It seems like a game with a lot of secret elements, especially one I can think of right off the top of my head was I saved a young girl in the dungeon and then like I unlocked a key or something and she ran out and I was like, what the heck happened? Where did she go? So I expect there will be a lot of unique elements to this game, and I really hope you will see some speedrunners doing videos of this, because I would love to see how much better they are compared to like somebody like me. And I would actually love to see like people comment on how like far they progressed into this game, because it definitely seems like one of those games that has some real lasting value and could definitely be seen as like a competitive, like kind of that like Twitch game where you do have the challenge elements to it. So final thoughts on this game. This game does on Steam. It has gotten pretty good positive reviews so far, and I can definitely see why it has gotten these great reviews. The game is developed by Nuke9, and I do recommend that if you pick this game up, let them know that you enjoyed it, because it is a really good game. And if you enjoyed content like this on the channel, please leave a like, please leave a subscribe, and please leave a comment if you can. One or any of them would be great for me. So until next time, guys, this is Rebus saying, I'll catch you later.